Hi, welcome to the Children's Bible in 365 Stories. Today we're looking at story number 24 entitled Jacob's Bargain, and that can be found in the first book in the Bible, Genesis chapter 25. And it picks up with some people we know, Isaac and Rebekah, who are now married, and it deals with one of their children. So let us continue in this story. For many years after they were married, Isaac and Rebekah had no children. Isaac knew all about God's promise to bless his family and make a great nation from them. So he asked God to send them a child. Soon, Rebekah found that she was expecting not one baby, but two. At that time, the eldest son inherited all the family rights and privileges. This was a custom of the day. The firstborn received everything and was expected to run it as the father ran it and to take over caring for the family and their parents as part of that inheritance. But before the babies were born, God told Rebekah that this time the younger one was to become the head of the family. Through him, God's promises to Abraham would come true. That's interesting. So God spoke to Rebekah and said the younger of these two children is going to be the key one to do the things that God wants done in the world, and not in the way in which people expected or understood it. That's very fascinating. Let's continue in our story. Twin boys were born, first Esau, then Jacob, younger by a few minutes, and holding tightly to his brother Esau's heel as he was being born. The boys grew. Rebekah loved Jacob best. That was the younger of the two sons, the one who came out holding his older brother's heel, even though he was only older by a few minutes. He liked to stay in the tent while Esau was out in the open air, stalking and hunting the wild deer. Isaac loved Esau best and liked nothing better than the delicious venison stew Esau cooked from the deer he caught. One day, Esau arrived home ravenously hungry, just super very hungry. An appetizing smell filled the tent, for Jacob was cooking soup. "Give me some soup," Esau shouted. "I'm starving." Jacob thought quickly. Here was the chance he had been waiting for. He would bargain with Esau for the thing he wanted most. "I'll give you some soup," he agreed, "if you give me the rights that belong to the firstborn son." "All right," Esau said impatiently, "anything you want. I'm sure I'll die of hunger anyway if I don't get something to eat, so what do I care?" "Promise me," Jacob insisted. "Yes, yes," Esau repeated, and Jacob handed him the steaming soup. Esau drank it hungrily, then turned and left the tent without another thought. That was how much he cared about God's promise. And that shows that Esau really wasn't interested in the bigger picture of things, but was just looking to meet his own needs in the moment. He was hungry and he wanted food, and that's all he cared about, and wasn't taking into account the short, the medium, the long term, or everything going on around him. He was just so focused on the moment and what he was wanting, and he was missing some important things. And back in the day, when this was happening, one of the most important things was not only did the firstborn take over everything, they received the father's blessing. And that blessing was an important thing. That blessing was a passing on of status, of value, of standing in the community, standing within the family. It was an important thing to have that blessing from the father to the son who would take over running the household and the family for everyone as the father stepped down and let the son take his place. So Esau was thinking about the bigger picture, or wasn't thinking about the bigger picture, but Jacob was, and Jacob wanted to have that right and that blessing in place of his brother. Well, that's our story for today. The story is going to continue with our next session. Have a good day and be safe.